Look at this, it's dark out, but we can still see things. Today we're in a garage. Magnificent. So, I got some bigger meat I want to put on this Jeep. And if you notice, there's not a whole lot of room left. These 33s are pretty comfortable. I wouldn't want to go any bigger unless you bump stop the crap out of it, and then what's the point? I found some 35s on Craigslist that have some better back spacing, so my tires won't hit my lower control arms anymore. But I'm going to need some different flares to fit those tires on a 4.5-inch Rubicon Express lift. So, I went to Napier Productions or Products, or however the hell you want to say that, and got their flat flares because they're a hell of a lot cheaper than the Bushwhacker flat flares. And it comes in a big box. So let's take the box out and look at them. So here's what you get inside the box. It's actually pretty interesting how they put all this stuff together. You got your instructions, all your hardware, and a little bit of custom trim stuff. You got a whole bunch of other trim stuff, and I don't know what this is. Beef jerky, maybe? Something. And they're all sharpied in there. Spares for use on lower quarter panels that is needed. Some shit. And they're all on trays. So here are the other things. Some kind of mounting thing, template, something or other that goes on underneath. And here's the flares themselves. They're all wrapped up in plastic and whatnot, so. Looky there. Pretty smooth plastic. And they're marked, hopefully. Passenger front. So, obviously for the front ones, they have a longer leg in the back. But they're going to sit a little higher than the stock flares, which is what you want. So, that's what's in the box. So, first step is take your old flares off. I'm going to do these in sections. I'm going to do the front side first, and then the rear side. The rear side, there's some cutting and folding. In the front, if you have a newer Cherokee, the 97 to 01, you're probably going to have a washer bottle inside the fender. You're going to want to take that out, otherwise you're going to drill holes in it, and it's not going to hold fluid. So, be warned. I've heard that this is easier with the tires off, but I don't know, I'll see if I can get around that. And they also recommend taking off your plastic fender well covers. I'm also wondering if that's necessary or not. You're just trimming them later on. So, I don't know. We'll see. First step is to get your flares off, though. They're held on with a bunch of nuts and stuff. And there is a 99% chance that they're all going to break. But it doesn't matter because you're not going to use them. So, let's zip them off. So, after you break every single one of your bolts, you just fucking pull this down. Look at that shit. Cool. Got a little rust. That's interesting. We'll be cutting that part out though, I think. At least some of it. You see part of the snorkel. Neato. So, take your flare and hang it. And you're going to measure the inside, this first line. And then after that, take it off, and then you're going to go 1/4 inch farther out, make another line. So right here, you should be right on the fucking bent metal, and then you'll come out and just go straight, keep following the line all the way down. So, we're going to try some different tools and see what cuts the metal the best. We're gonna make this fit on in there today. So, cut a little less, so that way you can make up the difference when you don't fucking measure right and stuff. Man. Okay, so this thing right here you're going to want to cut and trim to fit around the snorkel as well. So if you notice I have tape on here, you take your fender and line it up and trace an edge around the fender. So this is the outer edge. And you take this inner bracket and you want it to sit 1/4 inch below the line that you drew. Because, you know, you need a gap for the actual fender to sit on there, the flare. So you see it's trimmed pretty well to fit around there. So drill one of the holes and get it to fit, and then check the fit. If it does fit, drill them all out. So now that you got this fucking thing set up, drill a hole 3/16 inch, put one screw in the middle, and then mark the rest of your holes with a punch. And, you know, drill them all out. So everything's screwed in now. Cool. Now let's see if that fits. Okay, so next step, you're going to drill one hole and put a screw in it, and then you're going to mark all the other ones. Just put a drill bit in there or a punch or whatever you want to do. Drill them out. I took the flare off after I marked all the holes and drilled. I left the plastic template thingy on there just because I didn't really care about it that much. So all the screws are in there, and it's in there for the most part. Now, even though I left room, it's still going to tighten down a little bit, but the gap is a little big. I don't know, some of my measurements were off a bit, so that's a bit upsetting. But oh well, fuck it. So now that is mounted pretty much. There's washers and rubber thingies and other stuff to use, but it fits, so that's the important part. So I'm gonna take all these off, and I'm gonna paint the edges. So I'm gonna leave the masking tape on there and paint up all the showing metal. Alright, final step is to give it a little paint and take the tape off. So I'm going to let that dry and move on to the next stud. Okay, so you want to make sure that your rubber stuffy is put on. You have to cut it because it does not conform well, so you got to sit there and cut it every time there's a sharp bend. Nothing you can really do about it. You can try messing with the heat gun, but even like this small bend, it doesn't want to stay. It just keeps falling off. But I chose to have the thicker side on the top instead of in the back. I think that's how it's supposed to go. I don't know. There's a gap back there, but whatever. What are you going to do? So, final step here is if you want to reattach your this beam or whatever, figure out where you can put that. And then you're going to put this up and trim it so that none of the extra is hanging off. And then the front's done. So here's a good comparison right here. First off, don't forget those little rubber washers. They kind of help hold the screws so the plastic doesn't take all the abuse. But that's the difference in the wheel well opening. Definitely opens it up some. You'll definitely get a full effect of it when it's on the ground, but that's pretty serious. I dig it. So now I'm just going to cut it so that it'll sit inside the lip and not look so weird. Okay, it's really hard to stuff it up in there. If you notice, like around the corners, I started cutting notches to help it bend more. But it's in there. It's a pain in the ass. Whether it stays up there or not, it's another question. But, you know, it's in there. Best I can do. So... there you have it. Okay, you can see the line that I traced. The cut line is a little bit farther out. Cut it. Okay, crap's cut out. Alright, so you hold the fender where it's supposed to be and mark the outer edge of it now. So you have this sit where it needs to be, and you mark the outer edge all the way around. And you can put the flare out of the way. And now at this line right here, you're going to take your plastic insert, and you want to be 3/16 inch lower than that line. And then you can start putting your holes in for that. Okay, so I have the center hole drilled, so then you can make sure it's even on both sides. Mark the rest of the holes and drill them. Okay. All those are bolted in. Now drop this down again. Make sure the fitment is how you like it. And when it rests on there, it looks the way you want it. When she fits on there good and proper, mark the rest of your holes, and drill them out. Okay, so after you drop it down, you can mark your holes. I like drilling out the plastic while it's still down, and then the metal you can do it after you take it out. So this side trim over here is going to have to get cut too. So put it down and then mark the line where it's going to sit and cut a little bit behind it. It's always better to cut a little less and then take off more later. So angle grinder makes quick work of this. Peel it up, pull it off. Ta-da! And just like that, it's installed. Nice. Alright, time to take this one off and paint it and do the stuff that we do the other side. Okay, moving on to the back. This one's a little bit simpler than the front, technically, for cuts at least. Basically, from what it looks like, you're going to take most of this outer lip off so that you're left with, you don't want to cut any higher than these dimples. You see all them dimples there? Those are the spot welds. Now, the big thing with the rear is that the way that this is held together, the outer and the inner are spot welded. That's what all these little spots are. So if you cut out all those spot welds, then the sheet metal opens up. So in order to keep the body together, what you do instead is the cut and fold method that everyone talks about, where you cut in between the spot welds and you hammer them up out of the way. So that way you still get the clearance, but you also keep the body intact. So you're going to run through and cut that whole edge off, put a bunch of slices in there, take out your BFG, start beating. Fun, right? Okay, so if you notice the whole ridge is cut out. So now we can mock the fender up and start tracing some lines. Okay, so you put your flare up against it and you draw a line on the bottom edge of it, and then you'll sketch another line 1/4 inch above it. So you see this second line right here is my line. You're not cutting this line, this is the cut and fold. So you're just going to make a bunch of slits just like this all the way down and then hammer them up. Now you want to make sure that you can see where the spot welds are. You don't want to cut through the spot welds, or cutting and folding doesn't really do shit. So be very aware of where they are and cut around them. So just kind of cut them so that you can fold it back and, you know, have fun with a hammer. Okay, so you can see all the cuts I made. Now you have fun and hit them all down. You want them to be at least parallel with the back. Okay, when you're done, you should end up something like this. Beat the crap out of it. It might be a little easier with the tire off, but, you know, if you got a small enough hammer, it's easy. Oh. There we go. Now to mark the bottom template thingy. Alright, this process should seem familiar. So, put your flare up, mark the outer edge, and then you're going to take your little plastic insert and go 3/16 of an inch below that and start mounting this thing up. So mark your first hole, drill one, screw it in, mark the other ones, drill them, screw it in, and put that on, and, you know, we'll get there. Okay, so this is just test fit. Now, if you notice some of the holes don't have anything behind them, like for instance this one, so I'll have to go back there and bend some of the metal out. So I might have pushed a little too far for what I needed. So, I don't know. Oh well, not a big deal. I can just bend it back out. So, okay, so Mark all your holes, drill your holes. This time I had to take the plastic piece off to drill some of them, like this one was at an angle. That one was hard to get to. That one was real hard to get to. So yeah, take the plastic off and drill away. So let's do a test fit, make sure it's all good. Okay, test fit is complete. Now if you notice over here, I did trim a little bit off. I cut a little too much. Seemed to be just how it is tonight, but it's fucking late, so I don't really care. But it's on there. So now I'll take it all off, paint it, and then move on to the other side. Finish the last one. Okay, all the paint's applied, so now we sit there and let it dry, and let's finish it up by doing the last side. Okay, so once you get your trim on, and it's all screwed down and nice and tight, you're fucking set. There you go, there's the rear flare, baby. Woohoo! Once I put the other side on, it's done. Okay, I'm gonna give you a few pro tips now that I've done this once. First off, make sure that all your spot welds are marked so that you can go in between them. Second, when you make your line, try not to go above the line at all, because when you bend it over, it's going to go a little farther than the cut that you made anyway. Thirdly, before you start hammering anything, take all the tape off, or you're going to spend an hour taking it all off afterwards. So take the tape off after the cuts. Fourth, what would be fourth? I don't know. Oh, up top right here, you really don't have to cut that much at all, because once you take that lip off, you barely got to do anything here. I just did this just because, and it really doesn't need that much. So I'm going to just tap it a little bit, but what you really want to do is just this part right here. That's all you really got to do is just the corners. The top you really don't have to worry about. Okay. Okay, so beat the crap out of this side. As you can tell, I didn't hit it up nearly as far as the other ones, so there's a lot more metal remaining in case I ever need it. So, got the tape, got the line, got the hole, screw in the thing, do the other holes. Test fit is good, so let's drill the final holes. There you have it, the final one. Cool. Let's take this thing off the jack stands. Okay, so there it is. Look at that. She looks pretty mean now. You got plenty of tire clearance too. Look at that. So you'll definitely be able to fit some bigger tires up in there. But that's a flat flare install. Plenty of room. So 35s should fit snugly in there. Look at that, back has opened up so much. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So there you go, there's your Napier flat flare install. This was about a 10.5 hour job, so be prepared to have a little fun. I hope you've all enjoyed.